Welcome back to Razmafzar TV. Hi, Bede, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Thank you very much. It's very good to have you back here on our channel because today we are going to talk about an exceptional museum. And they don't even call it museum in France. It's in Klingenthal in France, in Alsace, where many people also speak German, Alsatian, a German dialect, and also they're bilingual, speak French. And there they call it maison, so house. They call it a house, and this is it's very beautiful. And actually, I can just say tell you what happened because my wife is very kind. Always tries to find a museum for me when we are on vacation. So then we were we were in Center Park with our kids, and the kids love these Center Parks, right? All these water games and so. And the way back, she said we were in France, Center Park in France. They're much nicer than in Germany. And on the way back, she said, "Oh, there is a town called Klingenthal, which they made blades." And I said, "Oh, really?" And she said, "Because I think I told you I was very often in Paris. France has beautiful arms and armor museum, Musée d'Armes." And he said, "Oh, was it? Yeah, they produced lots of things in Musée d'Armes also there. Okay, let's go to Klingenthal." And I said, I looked then at the map, a digital map. Oh, it's a very small town. Yeah, but they have a beautiful. So we went there, and first we found a very, very beautiful French restaurant, which is not the topic here. Maybe we can talk about that. It was Michelin star French, restaurant. So we had lunch there, and then we went to this museum. This is exceptionally beautiful, shows arms and armor, how they were made, the whole process. So the whole idea behind them was actually that's the reason they call it maison. One of the reasons was that the Klingenthal was like Solingen, center of blade making in France, actually competitor to Solingen. Because as we all know, Solingen started to export worldwide, including Africa, including India, right? We know that, right?
Yeah, that was
because of quality. What they did, first they invited some bladesmiths from Solingen. Actually, they poached them by paying them a lot, like today we do in companies, in universities. And they came, and then they also could communicate with them because back then it was not like today that everyone, educated people speak fluent English. Back then it was different. So they spoke German. So then they came, Alsacians, they were bilingual French and German, so they could communicate. And now they went out of, there was no blade making industry anymore. And we're going to talk about it. I think even in 20th century, the company remained, they changed names, and they made handmade agricultural tools. Unfortunately, in 20th century, mid 20th century, I think if my memory doesn't fail, but we will see the numbers, they also went out of business. So what they did, lovers of Klingenthal history, okay, and many of the families around there, they had blades in the family collection. Beautiful sabers, swords, agricultural tools, body armor. And then they went to auctions, bought more, made in Klingenthal. They all collected this. And in the house where they used to make that factory, handmade things, they made this maison, brought all those collected items, put it there, made an exhibition. Isn't it wonderful? Isn't it wonderful?
It's the best thing to do because you get so much more when it comes from the people round about.
Yes.
And particularly when, it's got a place that's got a long history of high quality arms and armor. And then the people round about want this to be, known and want to share it. I think this is
Yes.
another thing.
Yes.
I mean, some people say, oh, well, they're doing it to make money or something like that. Most of the time they're doing it because they want to share the knowledge.
Yes.
If they make money, it just keeps it going.
Yes.
Nobody gets rich from a museum.
Yes. No. So what then they did, they went to auction houses, bought beautiful blades, brought them, be made in Klingenthal. And they also found in like old houses, they found like how they sharpened swords, those wheels, big wheels, smaller wheels for sharpening, polishing stones. They found hydraulic power, what they used, by water. They found everything, and they also put them in the exhibition. And then they have beautiful explanations, posters, pictures, period pictures.
Oh,
So
excellent.
the result is when you go into that museum, you just think you're back in this 18th century, 17th century.
Oh,
It
that's
is
amazing.
unbelievable. Unbelievable. So that's what we are going to talk about. I just need to say kudos to all these people. Also, they have their own creators as well. To her, how helpful she was to us, really helpful, explaining, and all these things. And another thing they do as well, once a week, there is a smith who comes and makes welded steel in front of people there in traditional style. So he welds steels and hammers it for them so they can see it. So isn't it once a week they do it?
Yeah, look, this is great because I
Yes.
think a lot of people have a superficial interest in this subject or that subject from history, but their interest deepens once they can see, say, how something is made, or they see all the accoutrements that go with it. It's not just a sword blade, but it's a whole industry that makes that sword blade and a whole set of skills that keeps it sharp and polished and all that kind of thing. I think that's a wonderful thing to do.
Yes.
Um, a lot of, I mean, I don't know whether it's a modern thing. I think it is a modern thing that a lot of museums now want to engage the public more with the subject rather than just have things in cases. And what that does is um, it's educational value. It's much more um, effective education in the sense that people learn their history and things like that because there are real things and there's a real story about real people.
Yes.
But
Yes.
the other side of it is, I think that it stimulates a lot of artistic people when they see these things and it gives them ideas and you get new art and you get new ideas. And I mean, I was talking to a potter the other day who was very interested he makes all his own glazes. So he goes out and digs minerals up and grinds them up and then melts them, all this kind of stuff. And the absolute passion that creative people have for making things is just amazing. And it's
Amazing.
inspiring to other people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let us just go on this journey, please, Bede. And I'm going to start to share. We are going to have beautiful pictures, also some short videos we're going to watch today. So let me see. Okay, where is it? It is here.
Ah,
Okay. So what is Klingenthal? Klingenthal is actually not even a town. It's a village. So it's in France, located in the historic region of Alsace, right? It
mhm.
is within the communes of Boersch and Ottrott. So the name Klingenthal, as people who speak German know, Klinge,
Mhm.
Klingen is blades, is in plural, and Tal is in Old German. It's not a mistake, guys. Tal in today's German doesn't have H, but back then it did. So it means Blade Valley or Valley of the Blade. So Klingenthal in Alsatian and German. So the name Blade Valley reflects its history as the site of a major edged weapons and metal armor manufacturer during the 18th and 19th centuries. To see the quality of the blades they produce, I put here some of these pattern welded steel blades. They are, guys, military sabers and military
Mm.
swords. Just look at the intricate welded steel patterns. Aren't they beautiful? These are just magnificent patterns. You see
The
here,
pattern,
yes,
but also the added decoration is
yes, these are added
in.
decorations on that. But if you look at it,
Yeah,
you see here you see clearly, here you see clearly. These are
yeah.
these, different piles of iron. and still they piled together and they hammered them into shape. We are going to see that later on. So this is here. Here you see that Ancienne Manufacture Royale de l'Arme Blanche. Here, ancient manufacture of royal edged weapons. That's we see, or cold weapons, if they want to call it. This is here. And Klingenthal was the France's first royal weapons manufactory on a big scale, modeled after the industrial methods, which they were pioneered in Solingen in Germany, which we know that Solingen is a town, is a beautiful town. I will travel there again soon to make a documentary in Western Germany. By the early 18th century, Solingen had established Europe's first large-scale weapons production system, as we know, supplying armies across the continent. Also, as Bede mentioned, exporting to Africa, right? Also to India, right?
Yeah, it's impressive how widespread
Yes.
this was.
Yes. Solingen was also at Passau in earlier times as well, many centers of excellent blade manufacturers were in Germany. So recognizing France's over-reliance on foreign arms import, you can see King Louis, his government, right, realized that they're relying too much on this. So then tried to replicate Solingen's success by creating a domestic blade manufacturing center. So the site as Klingenthal was selected because there you can find abundant natural resources. You can find, actually even today you can go and see there, iron ore for forging blades. You can find sandstone, very good quality for them, for grindstones used in sharpening. That's why they chose this location. Additionally, its location near the Vosges mountains provided access to fast flowing streams. You can see these streams they used for hydraulic power, right? And also to make sure that the manufacturer's success is guaranteed, they poached skilled craftsmen from Solingen. They were recruited and assisted by the local Alsacians' dialect similarity to German, so they could communicate. Again, back then it was not like today that many skilled people speak English as lingua franca. Back then people didn't, right? So they could communicate in German.
Yeah. Well, French was the diplomatic language at the time.
Yes, exactly.
And German was rapidly becoming a language of scholarship.
Yes.
So you had these, well, they both had obviously scholarly writing.
Yes.
But yeah, you can see how
yes,
it must have been more difficult than it is today when
yes,
you don't have to have so much trouble to communicate.
Yes. So it facilitated communication and they could transfer knowledge. So this is this area, right? And we are going now to the museum, so you can go and take a look at that. It's a very beautiful. So it's just look at the surroundings first, maybe. You can see, it's just a very short film. Oh. It's a beautiful, place. Really nice. Look.
Yeah. Classical village.
Yeah, really beautiful. So we can take a look at that, right? You see that, yeah. we walk towards it and you are going to see that I showed the slide of it before, but you can take a look at this, how beautiful it is now. You see?
Yeah.
Exactly. See? So this was this one. And so the rise and evolution of Klingenthal's Royal Manufactory in 1730, founded there as the Manufacture Royale d'Armes Blanches d'Alsace under the direction of Henri Anthès. Klingenthal became France's first state-operated blade manufactory. Its design featuring forging hammers, grinding workshops, and worker housing. They have also housing there. You can see it today. Served as a blueprint for later arms factories on a larger scale, right? Including the famed Saint-Étienne site. I'm going to make a documentary on there. Next time I go to France, I will travel there as well.
Yeah.
So initially, excuse me, Initially, blades bore the mark Manufacture Royale d'Alsace. These are older blades. Later, they changed it simply to Klingenthal. So if you see these Klingenthal, they are for later period, but also original. In the beginning, earlier blades Manufacture Royale d'Alsace. So in 1792, renamed Manufacture Nationale d'Armes Blanches after the Revolution. 1804 became the Manufacture Impériale d'Armes Blanches under Napoleon I. And 1815 restored the Royal Manufactory following the Bourbon Restoration. So you see, during a long period, they made excellent blades. If you go to Musée d'Armée, you know what? One part of Musée d'Armée I really love. is arms and armor from Napoleon time. I love French sabers. Oh God, I don't know why. But next to Persian blades and Japanese blades, what I really love are French blades. I really love them.
I think, it's an aesthetic. Each person
Yeah,
finds that thing that really makes them
yeah,
feel happy
yeah,
about this. I think that's quite reasonable.
yeah. So here you can take a look at this, and so we are just walking a bit here, so you can see more of the place. It's very old,
Mhm.
very nice, huh?
Oh yeah, it's really picture perfect. I should have said picture postcard because it is like it's like postcards, isn't it? It's so pretty.
Here you see my wife and my boy hand in hand walking towards the restaurant first, in front.
Judging by
So
the way that it must be cold there.
yes, it is cold. Yeah, when we were there, it was in winter, and my
Oh,
daughter is walking next to me. So these are this area. You see that? Just take a look at that.
mm,
Very, very beautiful area, right?
yeah.
Very, very beautiful area. So you see, then if so, decline and transition to civilian production. Post-restoration concerns over Klingenthal's proximity to the German border. They
Ah,
made a
yeah.
strategic move. Of course, Germans were, well, Germany and France back then, they were not big allies. Well, a strategic vulnerability, as the French called it, led to the gradual relocation of arms production to the newly established Manufacture Royale. Here we have Châtellerault in Western France in 1819. I will also go there and make another documentary there for you guys, no problem. By 1838, Klingenthal ceased weapons manufacture entirely, losing its royal status and transitioning into a private enterprise. And this is this Coulaux family. The company, again, they kept the whole tradition, but then pivoted and changed to producing agricultural tools. We're going to see also what they produced. Most notably scythes, and then until operations, the agricultural tools ceased in 1962, sadly. I was so sad that I heard that. I said, why didn't they continue? Then they
Oh, well,
told me it's too expensive. The agricultural tools they made, they were handmade. They couldn't compete with foreign
yeah,
competition.
that's always a problem.
Always a problem. These, things made by machines, they're cheap. And I find it
Well,
very sad, to be honest. Really
yeah,
sad.
well, farmers have got to make decisions based on economy, not on how beautiful something is.
Yes, exactly. But
I
you
mean,
will see, Bede, let us look at the agricultural tools they made. You will not, you can collect them. That beautiful they are. That's the
oh yeah.
reason I'm saying it, you know. But you are right. And so here we are going there. So here is open in French, it says ouvert. So we are moving there. Some polishing stones even outside, you know.
Yeah, well, once they're
You saw
worn
that?
down.
Yeah. So today the site industrial heritage lives on the Maison de la Manufacture de Blanches. That's what this museum is called. Opened in 2007 within a restored factory building. The museum shows original tools and remarkable sword collection, also some armor, preserving Klingenthal's legacy as the cradle of French blade making on large scale, of course. Here you see that, for example, here we have different types that they say, like polishing, forging, and different places. We are going to see that here, for example. And interestingly, look at this one, this agricultural tools are sand. You see that? This one, the blade, how big it is. They could forge it, right?
Yeah,
You see that, Lee?
yeah.
And
Yeah. Scythe blades are amazing pieces of equipment.
yes, and yes. And then they made also some infantry blades, as you can see them here. But we were going to look at them. Look at this. Here, when you enter the museum, excuse me, this maison, you see these are different bars, iron
Yeah.
bars and steel bars of different carbon content. So you can see them here. And these are original, right? These are original. Look at them. Please take a look.
And so these are the specific tools to hold that
Yes,
um, baton of different layers of steel when it was going to be forged welded together.
yes,
So it's well, I know that in the old days and even today that blacksmiths make their own tools. That's part of the training.
Yes.
So these are specifically designed for the process. Well, you can see in the drawings there.
Yes. So what they did, if I may show it again, so what they did, these bars, now if, let me just show it again. So it
Yeah.
just moves in a bit. Look at this here. Okay, there are bars, but look at this one, iron ore. Do you see that? They
Yeah.
melted it and then they forged it into different, as Japanese do, bars.
Yeah.
And yeah, as Japanese do. And then they could tell some of them had more iron, carbon content, some of them less. So then they classified them, as the curator explained to us. She was very good at that. And then they looked at it. Okay, what kind of pattern do I want to make? So they put them together the same way as tamagone, right? This
Yeah.
layered steel is that so beautiful,
Yeah.
isn't it, Pete?
Yeah,
Really beautiful.
yeah. Well, when you see examples of it, I've got a few swords that were made that way,
Yes,
and it's totally different from Wootz. The
yes,
patterns are totally different, but
yes,
the skilled workers can make such beautiful designs.
yes. Unbelievable.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
And they combine hard and soft. They make a really
yes,
effective blade.
yes. So here you see that here you can see also explanations how many times they're folded. Sometimes people
Mm.
ask me for their research if I can help them and provide them with more pictures. Of course, guys, if you're a researcher and you're working on Klingenthal, you need more, or any other museums, you can just contact me. I will be happy to help you. So you see that bit here, they show the forging process, right? So how it's hammered and then how they fold it, right? Beautiful. Hmm?
Yeah, that's well, it's really good to have that kind of detail.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, so somebody asked me the other day about, well, how did they join pieces of steel together? And I said, they heated up really hot, put some borax between them and hit them with a hammer until the metal forged together. And
Yes.
really, you can do that?
You can
No electric welding. No.
electric weld now.
Yeah.
So here you can see more about that. This is a good picture as we saw a short film of it. Here you can see more about that, right? And
We'll
okay,
see
this
that.
we saw in the beginning, so result will be these blades.
Yeah.
And look at this now. These are about the folding process. So you fold, so you can come from here. You see that how then they keep folding it and making it right into this. They also made, as you can see, they made lance hands, spear hands. They also made
Oh,
bayonets. You see that? They're
yeah, yeah.
really beautiful. You see that?
Yeah, so that's a lance head that's got a kind of broad tang and
Yes,
fixed by two rivets through the end of the shaft. So you split the shaft down, you fit it in, and then
yes.
you rivet it together.
And
Famous.
the lady explained there are some of them are made of mono steel, but Klingenthal, even those which are polished, majority of them, if you etch them, are pattern welded.
Yeah,
This
wow, that's impressive.
impressive.
I mean,
So you see,
I was so good at doing it, they didn't even think it was special enough to etch. Oh yeah, yeah, we did that all the time. Yeah, we'll
yeah.
just polish this. Yes.
Oh,
Uh,
imagine, I'm fighting with a pattern welded bayonet. Isn't it something special to use?
oh dear. You would this would be so amazing.
Amazing, right? So you see very beautiful ones, right? You can see it here
mm,
more. I can show it to you maybe here.
yeah. So yeah, this is interesting. The bayonets are the styles of bayonet I recognize. These are from
Yes,
muzzle loading
yes,
guns. Um, very much just like a spike.
yes,
Whereas
yes,
some bayonets are like blades, and
yes,
this one
that's right.
looks like a screwdriver. But
Yes,
so these are all the at the bottom there. They're the swages and that fit into the anvil when they're hammering
yes.
out the different shapes, the curves, and all that. Is
Oh,
that it in a drawing?
exactly. I just saw that. That's in the
Oh
drawing.
yeah, you know what it is. It
Mm.
raises the gate in a canal to let the water run to turn the water
Exactly,
wheels.
that's it. That's it. I
Yeah,
just wanted to say that's in the drawing. Is a canal. You can see it here. That's now we know
yeah.
what it is. Yeah, exactly. That's right. That's
Sluice
it.
gate. Sluice gate, you call it, I think.
Exactly, that's it. Let me show it again. This one. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Amazing, isn't it?
A
Yeah.
really powerful. That is probably like 120 to 1 ratio when you work out the gear ratio.
Yeah.
So one person could lift a very heavy weight using that. Not
Yeah.
very fast, but really heavy.
Yeah, you see that? Yeah, exactly. That's here. You can see it here, right here as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful. So here we have it. So yeah, exactly. The water supply was from the main reservoir, and that's right. That's it. Exactly. So they had like from this point, the water ran through 1 meter 30 wide channels and various branches to the 5 grinding workshops and drilling workshops and 3 tilt hammers. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see that the water here, you can go and out and see that still water running there, right?
Well,
Very
this
neat.
is, this is your first sustainable manufactory. It's just using water power. I mean,
Yes,
oh, clearly they had furnaces to heat the steel and things like that. But
yes,
rather than running, well, possibly because there weren't any, rather than running steam engines or something, using water power.
that's right. So they explained it here very well. I mean,
Mm.
yeah. So you can see that here. They also, you are going to watch them also later on.
Mm.
Now, sorry, look at this. These are these scabbards, as you can see that here.
So
Oh,
is this the
sorry.
mold for making the scabbards,
Exactly.
or
Mold for the
yeah,
scabbards. Yes, right.
yeah,
Yes,
because the internal parts of those scabbards were quite complex. You had
yes,
wooden panels and springs and all kinds of things, so that the
yes,
sword didn't ruin its edge.
yes, that's right.
Mm.
And yeah, this one. Let me see. Look at this, please, Pete. This is one
Yeah.
of them in the beginning. Let me just get, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we get closer now.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Look.
So that's before any polishing's been done or anything like that. Oh,
Yeah.
I mean the one in the foreground.
Yes, that one. Exactly. That's what they put it there. Exactly.
Yeah. But the blades in the background are pretty spectacular too.
Yeah. Spectacular. Yeah, they put it
Mm.
there to show before polishing. Exactly. And
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
ones are polished. Exactly.
So
Isn't
very
it? I
long.
think it's a cleaver. Yeah, it's a cleaver. This one is a cleaver. Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful, huh?
Yeah. So all kinds of things, mate. One of those knives looks like a Bowie knife above the cleaver.
That one. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, it does.
yeah.
This one.
Yeah, doesn't it? Clip pointed knife. Because I mean, we forget that these things in the 19th century were universal. Somebody invented something, and everybody else said, "Oh, I like that. We'll make one of those ourselves."
Yes. Yes. And one thing I can say that if you look at them, all solid blades, really solid blades, what they have.
Mm.
So look at this,
Yeah,
for example.
this is it. I mean, the use of high quality steel, um, engineering, like designing the cross sections so that they're stiff but
Yeah.
resilient. I mean, it's we look back on this and say, "Oh, 19th century, it's they didn't know what they were doing." Yes, they did.
They
They
did, of
forgot, you
course.
know.
Yes, they did. Now, when you look
Yeah.
at the amount of knowledge, engineering, unbelievable, right?
Well, yeah, and they had competitions, government competitions to come up with better designs for swords or
Yes.
guns or whatever. There was
Yes.
always this pressure because warfare produces pressure to improve technology. I
Yes.
mean, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But
Yes.
you kind of, I'm just looking at those. I can see some are in various stages of finishing, like in the one on the extreme left, the fullers are still fairly rough. They haven't been polished yet, but they've been
Yeah.
hammered in. Um,
Pete, look at this blade on the right side, how solid
yeah,
this
wow.
saber is.
Yeah, that's quite a substantial blade. Almost, you could really only use it for cutting.
Yeah.
It has stabbing with it would be very difficult. This one on the extreme left there is two deep fullers, but I'd say that's not anywhere near finished. This is what, again, it's a blade in the process of manufacture, whereas a lot of the ones in the middle and towards the right are completely finished, ready to be mounted with hilts and
Yes.
all that kind of stuff. But
Yes.
it's really good. So you don't get to see that normally. You see finished swords, and in really bad cases, you see swords in scabbards and you can't even see the blade.
Yeah.
I've
No.
been to museums and seen that happen. I mean,
Yeah.
they're thinking of what the sword as an art object, how it appears, say, in a painting, and forget that there's a real thing inside the scabbard. I, it's a thing I've seen. I was a bit stunned. In some cases, you see in catalogues daggers or swords in their scabbards, but the reason they're in the scabbards is because the blade hasn't been restored yet, and they don't want you to get the wrong impression about how nice it is. So that there are reasons for it, but seeing blades in various stages of manufacture is a really interesting.
Yes.
Well, it is to me. I mean, I'm not a swordsman, but I'm really interested in how things are made. And swords are difficult things to make them
And
work because they don't
you
only
know,
have to.
yeah,
Sorry, go
excuse me.
ahead.
Another good thing about this is the first museum. I would say the first. I've seen many arms and armor museums, as all of us have, but everything is in Klingenthal. That's what makes it so special, this museum, right? Not from different locations, be. Do you understand what I mean? From one
So yeah,
country,
it's
from one
authentic to that
area.
point. Yeah, yeah.
So you
Well,
can make
I mean,
comparison.
there are a lot of places that could produce such a big thing just from their own area. I mean, Solingen, of course, and Sheffield in England and places like that,
That's it.
Toledo in Spain.
Yes.
Um, but it's and just speaking of Western Europe, but it's really interesting when you kind of see this kind of
Yes.
very focused look at what's made here.
This
I
one, this
think that
Bowie knife you mentioned, looks like a Bowie knife, right? Look, this
yeah,
one. It does.
it looks pretty solid.
Very.
I mean, again, these are in various stages of manufacture. So, once it was polished and everything, and then with a hilt mounted, it would look, the blade would look pretty much the same, but your impression of the weapon would be entirely different because we're so used to complete things. I mean, I see, well, you and I and other people that are interested in the history of weapons, you see a lot of things dug out of the ground where they don't have all their bits still attached. So just blades or.
And Bede, you're going to love that. Even the hammers are original.
Yeah, and look at there's look, I'm not a blacksmith, so I don't know the terminology correctly. To the left of the really big hammer is a
Yeah.
swage for making a curved shape,
Yeah,
and behind
here, right?
and
It
behind it
is.
seems a hammer that has a matching concave hollow to the concave hollow. So if you're making something round and you wanted to hammer it,
That's it. This one, this one,
I,
this one.
no, 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 the one below.
Below.
Below, a
This
little
one,
bit lower. No,
this
no.
one.
Yeah. See, I
Exactly.
think that one, you put something round on the swage in front of it, you
Oh,
put
that's
that
one.
on, and then you hit it with another hammer. So this was to give you that round shape, like say for a socket on a lance head or something like that. I don't know. I'm guessing. I mean,
No,
a,
that's right. That's
a,
it.
a blacksmith would know what it was straight away, or if they didn't know what it was straight away, they could work out what it was
Yeah,
for.
that's right. Look at this. Now we can watch it.
Yeah, that's those.
Amazing.
Yeah, you can see they're all designed for doing particular. Oh, I see. So for making all different parts of the hilt and
Yeah, you will see that. Oh, even the original wood of the hilt. Look at this. Do you see that?
how it
Scabbard.
starts, how you shape it.
Look.
Oh,
That's why
that's
I say
amazing.
it's amazing. Look.
Yeah, this is uh, people interested in swords, this is the place to go. So there's a wooden model of the sword with its tang that you use probably to match up sets of grip scales and all that kind of stuff. This is amazing. I thought originally when I just saw a part of it, it was a part of a scabbard, but it's not. It's a wooden model of the sword, so you can form things around it, and excellent stuff.
Excellent. You see, this is people who made this museum knew about blades and blade manufacturing. Go.
Oh yeah, yeah. You see that, and
Yeah.
it again it enhances the experience because you get all of this background information.
Yeah. Oh, right. So this one we talked about. Another
Yeah,
picture there. I put so many pictures, again.
yeah. But there's so many individual things there,
Yeah.
and I'm guessing that like this, some of the swages are designed for putting in the fullers, rather, like you start off with hammering in grooves into the hot metal, and then once the grooves are there, you refine them by hammering them along the swages to smooth out the shapes. I mean, it's a lot of work, but
Yeah.
everybody liked it.
Hmm.
There's even
Yeah.
hammers in there with groove faces as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Such
is
beautiful blades, honestly.
yeah,
And they're all meticulously taken care of. They have protective oil. You can see when I was filming and taking
yeah.
pictures, all of them. The curators really love this museum, right? It's
Well,
so
I
beautiful.
mean, yeah, it's a really difficult thing. I've got a book on museum curation, and it's talking about how you curate things like metal things, the difficult problems you have stopping the metal from rusting, and how sometimes trying to fix the rust actually is worse than the rust. I mean, stabilizing the rust is the first thing, and then you decide whether you can remove it. I mean, it's a very complex science,
Yes.
uh, and you know, just one wrong step and you can wreck something. This is why I understand when I see blades that, oh gee, they surely they could have polished that rust off on that bit near the edge and then you think to yourself, maybe they're waiting until they've got a technique they're absolutely sure is going to work because this is a very important sword or a very important dagger.
Yes.
And I mean, sometimes, obviously, in big collections, you may have only a small number of swords and daggers, and there might not be anyone working there that's got that expertise.
Mhm.
So it's a matter of time until they can get the expertise into that museum, because museums do not have endless money,
No,
not even close.
not even close. You see the handles here as well?
Yeah, I was looking at those thinking, and these look like forms for shaping, like where the bars are curved around and all
Exactly.
that.
This is for the shape of the scabbard, right? Scabbard shape.
Oh, is it right? Even better.
Yeah, the mold. And here, pommel cap,
Hmm.
willen. Unbelievable. They have everything. Look at this here, the scabbard shape here. Look.
Yeah,
No, it's a mold for it. Look at, they have everything there. It's
yeah,
unbelievable.
those three little objects down the bottom are the base suspension things that the rings are on that the straps hold the sword scabbard up. But the one at the very bottom looks like the scabbard mouth cover
Yeah.
or the mold for making the scabbard mouth cover.
Yes.
I don't
This
even,
one,
I mean,
right? This one. Which one?
wait, no, right down at the bottom, there are three little objects
Ah, these
together.
ones. Yeah.
No, over to more to the left.
Left. Oh,
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
here.
they look like forms for the two ring supports on a
Yeah.
cavalry scabbard,
Is this ring
and
supports? Yeah.
the very bottom one of those looks to me like a cap, or to make a cap that fits over the mouth of the scabbard to make the blade.
Yes, that
Uh,
one. That one.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
that's one. True. Very beautiful.
See, there's everything's there.
Look at the
You could
blade.
spend hours trying to work out what people are doing.
Look at the blade, baby.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
Unbelievable. Yeah. And
And
also the wooden part, right?
yeah, well, I've made scabbards for swords, or helped people make scabbards for swords, different thing. And I mean, it's very satisfying when you get it just right. We had an example of an original hilt to base a hilt for a sword on, and just to kind of get something that looked and felt like the original one. So here we've got people making thousands of swords, all pretty much the same. I mean, it's not coming out of a mold and sprayed into a thing and everything's exactly the same. Somebody is with a file and tools is actually making each one to fit a standard, because military swords in the 19th century had patterns, and you had to get paid by the government. You had to make the sword to the pattern that they said, this is what we want
Yes.
it to be like.
Yes.
So it's a lot of work, but